Burnout can happen for many reasons. We can't downplay or minimize the trauma and stress we've all been through over the last 2.5 years. Many of us have been or are still working from home or doing school from home, which makes this work-life balance nearly impossible. And well, we're burnt out. I want to take a minute to thank Copilot for sponsoring this video. Copilot is your guide for building healthy, sustainable habits in movement, nutrition, mindfulness, and recovery. I like to think of it as my consistency companion, helping keep me on track and feeling my best. And I've been using the app to remind me to move my body 3 times a week. And with the help of my wonderful coach, Olivia, I'm held accountable. And she mixes up the movements to keep it fresh and exciting. And it's because of sponsors like them that I'm able to continue creating mental health content. Okay, let's jump to today's topic, the 11 signs that we are burning out on life. Burnout itself occurs when the reward for what we're doing isn't at least commensurate, meaning equal, with the effort that we put in. Meaning we need to feel rewarded, either through money, recognition, or the ability to help others, just to name a few, in order to keep doing it. And if that reward goes down or goes away completely, we slowly but surely start to feel burnt out. And here are the 11 signs it's happening to you. Number 1, irritability, moodiness, or cynicism. I notice this personally when I start to just feel irritated about everyday things that I normally have to deal with and handle fine, like someone calling me or me having a comment that I need to reply to. Things that I usually find joy or fulfillment through start to just really get on my nerves. And I know that it has nothing to do with the people in my life and everything to do with me and my burnout. Number 2, difficulty sleeping. Especially because burnout, if it's left untreated, can lead to things like depression and anxiety. We can find our mind racing at the end of the night. We can feel very restless, like we're not taking full breaths and we're not able to calm down. If we feel like this list of to-dos just keeps getting longer and there's no time for rest, it's going to be hard to get that rest. Number 3, cognitive difficulty. This means like we have an inability to focus or remember things, or we just feel like we can't make decisions. I think of this personally as like brain fog, almost like I used to be able to recall things. Like when I'm doing a video, I'm just riffing on the things that I've learned, and usually I can just pull that out of my brain. But when I'm feeling burnt out, it's like I'm digging in there and there's nothing. I can't focus, I can't recall, and it's really, really disturbing. Number 4 is increased or excessive use of drugs or alcohol. And we saw this a lot when COVID first hit. Everybody was like, wine o'clock, it's like noon, because we didn't really know what was happening. We're stuck at home. A lot of us were furloughed from our jobs or kind of just taking a break. And we can find this happening when we feel more and more burnt out. We turn to drugs or alcohol to help us manage all of the things I've been talking about before, like the irritability and that brain fog and just not feeling like ourselves. We can turn to these things as ways to cope when we don't feel like we have other things that we can use. Number 5, loss of motivation. When we're burnt out, it can feel impossible to get out of bed sometimes. And it can even make starting new projects extremely difficult. It's like we sit down to get going, we just can't. It's like we try for 5 minutes and we just feel exhausted by it. It's like everything that we have to do in life just feels like it's gonna take too much effort. And you can kind of see, even as I talk about this, why burnout going untreated can lead to things like anxiety or depression. To me, this symptom sounds a lot like depression. The 6th sign is we can feel like a failure. Because remember, we're not feeling rewarded, so we can find ourselves not feeling satisfied or accomplished. If we're having trouble motivating and everything seems like it's taking too much energy and we don't feel like what we're doing is fulfilling anymore, of course, we can start to feel like a failure. Number 7, and I'm calling myself out on this right now, is overspending on things we don't need. Hello, Amazon order history, or my eBay random purchases, which I'm wearing one right now. When things get stressful and when we start to feel overwhelmed and burnt out, we can turn to these, quote unquote, unhealthy ways to cope. I've talked about this in the past. Unhealthy ways of coping are drugs and alcohol. We can get into eating disorder behavior, self-injury behavior, overspending, porn addiction, sex addiction. There's all sorts of ways that we can try to almost distract ourselves from actually acknowledging the upset we're experiencing. Which rolls nicely into number 8, which is overeating or undereating. Changes in our appetite are always going to be important to note. Like I just talked about, a lot of us can struggle with eating and not eating when it comes to feeling burnt out because that's our way of coping, right? When we feel like our life is out of control, we try to control the one thing that we can, and that's our bodies. So notice if you find yourself binging or restricting, and maybe consider whether that could be associated with your burnout. Number 9, difficulty in our relationships. There could be more fighting. Obviously, if we're feeling irritable, we could see why that would happen. Or feeling lack of satisfaction in our relationships. Or even trouble maintaining them, like making time to see them, checking in, returning texts or calls. Again, if you can think about the other signs that we talked about, you can see how it would link to this, right? If my motivation is difficult to come by, if I'm feeling really irritable, if I'm not sleeping well, all of this can make it really hard for us to healthfully and lovingly engage with people. Number 10 is physical illness. If we're getting sick a lot or always just feeling like we're fighting a cold, right? It never really turns into something, but we always feel a little achy, a little run down, just like a little under the weather. We have to remember our mental health is directly linked to our physical health. So one will inevitably affect the other. And like I said before, all those other symptoms, not sleeping well, if we're not eating well, you can see how that's going to affect us physically. And finally, sign number 11 is suicidal thoughts. Being burned out for a long time can leave us feeling hopeless about our future and can make us more vulnerable to these sort of dark and unhelpful thoughts and urges. If you're having any thoughts of ending your life, please reach out for help. You can call the suicide hotline in your area, and there's that new 911 for mental health. So if you're in the States, you can call 988. And if you're in the UK, you can call the Samaritan's hotline or click the link in the description. And know that with support, it can and will get better. So what if we found ourselves saying, oh my God, that's me, to like each and every one of those signs? Well, what can we do? Don't worry, there's a lot we can do to help ourselves. And the first and most important is connection with others. I know, that sounds like more work, but trust me, connection is needed to build resilience, which is what we're trying to do. Getting connection with others actually soothes our nervous system and helps increase that reward for all the effort we're putting in, so it will lower our symptoms of burnout. Number 2, prioritize our basic needs. I talk all the time about HALT, which stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. You have to make those things non-negotiable. That's why I said prioritize basic needs, which is why I love the Copilot app, because it holds me accountable without any shaming or blaming. Having a real person as my health and fitness coach instead of just a notification in the app means that I can discuss things holding me back or possibly altering our plan so it meets me where I'm at. Sometimes fitness apps and coaching tools can just feel like a one-size-fits-all, and Copilot really personalizes your plan so that you can stay consistent and make real, lasting change. We all know that black and white or all or nothing thinking isn't healthy. Well, having that sort of thought process around moving our bodies isn't healthy either. We have to find something that works with us and for us. And this may mean that we stretch twice a week, or maybe we want to try lifting some weights. Whatever is okay with our body and where we are now, you can put together with your coach. Copilot really is a consistency building app that can help us change our lives for the better. Prioritize yourself today by clicking the link at the top of the description and get 14 days free with your own health coach. Moving on to my next option for how to help yourself if you're feeling burnt out is to take real breaks, like plan a getaway. No email, no phone. I know, it's a dream, right? Really get away from whatever it is that's burning you out. And even if you have to plan this like way out into the future, do it. Sometimes just knowing that we have a break coming can be enough of a reward to get us through. Number 4, be kind to others around you. Online, in person, whatever. Doing something nice for someone else, even just opening the door or letting someone go first, can really improve our moods and our days. Number 5, find joy in the small things. I know, I just threw up a little bit in my mouth too when I said that, but seriously, we have so much to be grateful for. Or it's small things that feel good each day, right? If we look out into our environment and try to notice the positives instead of looking for the negatives, it's a small shift, but it's truly life-changing. You know, like for example, is your bed really comfortable? Can we take the time to like recognize that and be excited about it, feel good about it? Or did you get a Starbucks or other fancy coffee this morning? Was it good? Can we be grateful for that? Do we have someone in our life who loves us? Maybe we have an adorable pet. Whatever it is, take time to at least notice these things and take joy in the comfort and the goodness of it. I know this is hard, trust me. I'm going through it myself. So let's hold each other accountable and work to get ourselves out of this COVID exacerbated burnout. And feel free to share any other tips or thoughts that you have about this in the comments down below. You never know who it's going to help. Have a wonderful week, and remember, you are important, valued, and I'm so glad you're here.